MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us, we've got Dr. Naidoo. He is the founder and CEO of BiomeRenew. And the question really is how to scale and keep culture. So, Dr. Naidoo, or Ashley, you can see you want that interpersonal connection. Is there in your imagination, a time in the growth of BiomeRenew where you don't know the names of all your staff?
I don't think I'm that person. It's the way I run my practice. It's me as a person. I try to know everyone from every stage of a company, and I like to understand what everyone can bring to the table and to work with everyone at every part of this business. And I think that answers, your question on why am I so attached to the idea of scaling the human capital, and it talks to that point, but still maintain my relevance to every part of this.
Yeah. I take it you haven't worked out the answer to that.
No.
Okay. So let's talk about culture. What does culture mean to you? Let's just define it in your world. Don't give me a textbook definition, but what does culture mean to you, to Ashley?
It's an ethos. I believe it's a way of life. It's something that is the company as a person. I believe as a founder, you impart a large part of your personality and your way of doing things into a company. And it's helped to a certain extent. I'd like to bring in the essence of all the good from everyone inside a company to build its own identity in a way that it can be the best possible version of itself.
So if I try and extrapolate that into your concerns about growth, so how's the culture going to change that is not amenable to you in terms of what you believe culture should do as the company scales? What's going to change that you don't like?
Well, I think when things get very commercial, I've learned that there's a lot of directions that the market dictates, which is fine. I mean, we need a customer at the end of the day, but also the control of where the business has to go and what the business has to do. As it started as a small discussion at a small table and now spans to a lot of different other discussions that happen based on international business or local business and so on. So as it affects the culture of what we were doing, it was largely a few individuals around the table. I think when you grow to a certain point and when there's outside investment, there's a lot of pressure that comes from places that changes the ethos of what the product was, its vision of what it was supposed to be, which I don't mind if it is coming from a space having done it before, or if I could say it from a side that had the necessary experience. But I think a capital-only based decision maker, I'm a bit worrisome about that one.
Where is that fear coming from? From watching TV shows, or or a personal experience?
I think it's a lot of it is like watching business things. I think this is the one part of it. I read a lot. I read around businesses to try and understand how a founder went from point A to point B. Their wins, their losses. Try not to make the same mistakes.
So, do you think Steve Jobs, who built Apple, of course, do you think his culture, he embedded his culture, it was his business, and at the end when he came back, do you think Apple was very much a manifestation of Steve Jobs, or it was?
I think a part of it was for a period of where they were. When he came back, it was for obvious reasons that I believe they needed him more than he needed them. But at the end of the day, yes, I think for the period that they were growing, there's always going to be that person in the room. It was Jeff Bezos in a garage. It was somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
And I feel the same about what we've done here. I had a lot of negativity around me entering the space in the first place. I mean, a South African orthopedic hand surgeon doing skincare is really not a thing. But hurdles overcome and all of those things, I believe a large part of me is in what's on that shelf. And I'm just trying to see how can I keep it going without having to be the product forever.
You mentioned the three partners. are all three having the same dilemma, or is it just you?
I think there was an identity crisis as to who does what as this grew. Relatively, it starts out as a few people with some ideas. You become friends, you become business partners, you throw into it a whole lot of money, bootstrapping these things. And then it gets to a point where you start to look at, what am I doing? What is everyone doing? How do we own the skills that we necessarily started with at this level, not at that level. So yes, I would say that they also have their moments. It's coming out in sort of meetings as we go and so on, that there's definite want to upscale and so on as well as we go.
And how are you instilling culture right now?
I think as it stands, I'm very much in tune with this business. I'm in this every day. It's something that I've tried to impart my knowledge onto the people that came in.
How?
So more or less, I would say I do multiple meetings to strategize. I'm a very much a visual person. I'm always drawing and writing. I made sure I put boards in the offices to be able to write things down. I give leads to where it needs to go. I need to build myself in other people if I could. And that's what I've sort of been giving time to over the past few months, is to take a person that enters a company with a certain skill set and then try to impart on them, I guess, what the essence of the brand was.
If you had to hypothetically leave the business for a year, what would happen to the culture?
I don't know. I'm quite worried about that statement, but I do think, look, with time, perhaps I will have the ability to let go of this. There was something I read somewhere that was you should be building everyone to be taller than you, not shorter than you, so that if you stepped away, no one's in anyone's shadow.
Yeah.
And I think that answer's there. I mean, I guess I have work to do to be able to put everybody else into the same seat I am today.
One last question in less than a minute. Does your team know, and I'm not talking about your partners, I'm talking about the other 5. Does the team know where you are taking this business in the next 3, 5, 10 years?
They know I'm a very ambitious person.
That wasn't the question.
Yes.
Do they know what the business will look like in 5 years' time?
I think a large part of them do.
Yeah.
I think to certain at the table, there may be a want to be at a certain point. But yes, I think the majority know.
Okay. I think I've got enough, Ashley. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, I'll have a lot for Ashley to think about. Stay tuned.
MTN SME Hub, link to business success.